Oh, 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 my head. How does Tarzan manage to do that his entire life? The Legend of Tarzan, directed by David Yates, the man who gave us the final 4 Harry Potter movies and the best Harry Potter movies, and stars Alexander Skarsgård, Margot Robbie, Samuel L. Jackson, Jim Broadbent, Christoph Waltz, Digimon Honshu. Yeah, amazing cast, am I right, guys? So, The Legend of Tarzan, I'm not gonna lie, guys, was one of my most anticipated movies of 2016. Ever since I heard David Yates, director of my favourite Harry Potter movies, was now going to be directing a Tarzan movie that was going to release in summer, I was beyond hyped. I'm like, David Yates, he's a force to be reckoned with. He can do no wrong. He did wonders with Harry Potter, and I know he's going to do wonders with Tarzan. But then the reviews came out, and yeah, they were not good. They were meh at best. They were mediocre. They were only giving it like 2 to 3 star ratings. It has only a 36% on Rotten Tomatoes, and boy did that make me a little concerned. I was trying my best not to listen to the critics and not let it ruin my hype for this movie. And when I went into it, I was optimistic. I was hoping it would be good at least, but I was also fearing, what if the critics are right? What if this is not that good and a bore? Did we spend our money wisely? But after seeing it, guys, I can gladly say the critics who didn't like this movie are completely and utterly wrong. Ignore them. The Legend of Tarzan is a wonderful film. It is the first great movie we've had this summer, and one of my favourite films of the year so far. I loved it. I, for one, have always loved the character of Tarzan. I mean, Edgar Rice Burroughs was a genius to think up this character, a man who was raised in the jungle by gorillas and controlled all and bonded with and befriended all the animals, and I love the Disney Tarzan. It's so underrated. It's one of my top 10 favourite Disney films of all time, and please watch it, guys, if you haven't seen it. It's pure Disney magic. It's the best adaptation of Tarzan we've ever had too. Fair enough if Tarzan isn't your thing, he's not going to appeal to everyone. And I've heard a lot of people say they thought the trailers for this film just looked okay, but I loved the trailers. I thought they looked incredible. I don't see why people weren't really gripped by them, but again, that's their taste, that's their opinion. But what I particularly loved about this movie is that it's actually an original Tarzan film. We have seen the origin of Tarzan so many times in multiple film adaptations. You know, a boy who gets raised in the jungle by gorillas, meets a woman named Jane and falls in love with her, takes on the hunter Clayton, and then goes to live with her in England in the end. And I am so glad they didn't just tell that original story all over again. That would have been so boring. But thank goodness they made a completely new story and a darker take on Tarzan too. Because all the other adaptations have been very fun and silly, but I think this darker tone works perfectly. People complain it's just another generic dark Warner Brothers reboot, kind of like with the Dark Knight trilogy, Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman. But I mean, if you think about it, guys, Tarzan is not really a fun story. I mean, it is pretty grim. I mean, people and animals dies. So, and it takes place in not the happiest time period in the world. So I think it makes perfect sense. And the original story is that Captain Leon Rom, played by Christoph Waltz, he leads a Belgian army, goes to Africa, makes a deal with a tribal leader to bring him Tarzan, because Tarzan killed his only son in order to get these diamonds. And so Tarzan is convinced to go back to Africa by Samuel L. Jackson's character with his wife Jane, and at first he refuses because he's happy with his life in England in his mansion, but he's also, him and Jane have gone through a lot of grief. They've lost a child, and but eventually Tarzan is convinced to return and go back with the tribe that he and Jane have bonded with. But sadly Jane gets captured by Captain Rom, and it's up to Tarzan, Samuel Jackson, to save her. It's up to Tarzan to get back into the swing of things. Well, basically, face the tribal leader, make amends with him, reunite with his gorilla family, and build an army to save Jane, defeat Rom, and free the slave of Africa. And also the cast is brilliant. The cast is terrific. Alexander Skarsgård as Tarzan. While I wouldn't say he's the best actor in the movie, I mean, he is definitely outshined by the supporting cast, but damn, he looks the part. Boy, does he have the chest and arms and abs and muscles. Boy, he worked out. I mean, all the girls in my screening, whenever he took his shirt off, just erupted in cheers, and I can see why. When we saw him swinging on the trees, it was freaking cool. It was freaking awesome. And I'm like, this is Tarzan, and he's a freaking badass too. He fights gorillas with just his bare hands. He commands legions of wildebeest lions. He talks to elephants. Yeah, I love how they explored his connection with the animals, because that's what Tarzan is. He's the lord of the jungle. He understands the jungle better than any man. His backstory is cleverly told through flashbacks too, kind of like in Batman Begins and Man of Steel, where they're basically flashbacks of the original story, but with also some new material, like what happened to his parents, how Carla, his gorilla mother, found him, but Tarzan's gorilla brother really doesn't like him at first, but eventually warms up to him, how he met Jane, and how the tribal's leader's son. Well, I'm not gonna spoil it. You'll have to see it for yourself. But he basically he does something terrible that makes Tarzan ultimately take revenge, and that gave the the storyline with Tarzan and this tribal leader so much weight to it. They have great motivation to hate each other. And Margot Robbie as Jane, she was great. She was a strong heroine. I know she was kind of, the damsel who got captured by the villain and had to be saved, but she never whined about it, and she really understood Tarzan too. She knew his connection to the animals, his connection to the jungle. In fact, she encouraged him to go back to the jungle. She knew that was his home, and because their life in England wasn't too great after she'd lost their child, I can see why. And she even had a great friendship with the tribe. Her and Tarzan stayed with for a while. And Samuel L. Jackson, yeah, a lot of people are not expecting him to get this much screen time, but damn, he was awesome. He was the comic relief of the movie, because this movie is very dark in tone, and he provided much needed lightheartedness, and he made me laugh every time. And he was also a badass too. Well, he's Samuel L. Jackson. He's a badass in every role he's in. Christoph Waltz as Captain Leon Rom. Oh my god, what a great villain. I mean, Christoph Waltz was of course Ernest Blofeld in Spectre last year. He is as terrific in this movie as he was in that. He was born to play great villains. I mean, he was just pure evil. He treated the tribes that he enslaved like crap. All he cared about was diamonds. He kidnapped Jane in an attempt to lure Tarzan to the tribal leader, who he made a deal with. He was very manipulative as well. He would stop at nothing to get his way. Yeah, people may be getting a little bored of Christoph Waltz playing a villain at this point, but I want him to continue playing great villains because that's what he does best. And yeah, he wasn't the most interesting or most three-dimensional villain in the world, but he didn't need to be. He served his purpose as a threat, and that's what matters. People that call this story cliche and boring and unoriginal as hell, I respect your opinion, but what the hell are you talking about? I mean, if it was unoriginal, it would have been the origin story all over again. This is a new take on Tarzan, a story, a side to Tarzan we've never seen before, just like they did with Man of Steel, and that worked for that movie too. And I was never bored by this story. Not only was it action-packed, but it was also very deep as well, learning about Tarzan's backstory and getting to know his ape family through the flashbacks, and him reuniting with them to save the day at the end was just great. And the climax when Tarzan takes on Rom's army at the trading post, where he brings down an entire freaking stampede of wildebeest, that was freaking awesome. I mean, I know it's kind of a rip-off of The Lion King, but a lion didn't die, so it's not a complete cut-out copy. People complain about this film's pacing. Well, maybe in the beginning in London it was just a little slow, but not too slow. There's still a lot of interesting setup and character moments there, and I didn't think the pacing was an issue at all. I felt it was just the right length. It didn't feel as long as a lot of people said it did. The time just flew by. And this movie looked great too. The amount of effort into the costumes, the Victorian England, the jungle looked great and visually stunning. And the CGI animals, while they did look a little fake and I could tell they were CGI at times, but people think this is I've heard people say this is the worst CGI ever, and it's not that bad, the CGI, not even close. I mean, at least it was finished, at least it's better than the CGI in Fan 4 Stick, thank God. But of course Warner Brothers did the best they could with making the gorillas look real, and in fairness they look pretty decent. And the score, the music by Rupert Grantham-Williams was beautiful, just incredible. I love the trailer music, and I love the score in the movie too. It felt like Africa. It took you to another world. Now, you guys probably think I'm overpraising this film, judging by the Rotten Tomatoes rating, but I am in utter shock that the Ghostbusters remake, which I hated, is getting better reviews and a higher score than this. It is absolutely disgraceful. I mean, sometimes I agree with critics, but with this movie, they're just being douchebags. They were just looking for every excuse they can to hate this movie, because I personally did not see much wrong with it whatsoever. I think it is one of the best Tarzan movies we've ever had, period, and I think in time it will be remembered as an underrated classic, fingers crossed. And if you go and see a movie this summer, please let it be this one. I give The Legend of Tarzan 5 stars out of 5. And I just wanted to let you know, guys, this is the first anniversary of my channel. Yeah, that's right, my channel is a year old today. How awesome is that? I started my channel 23rd of July 2015 when I uploaded my first video, and thank you to my sister. I couldn't have done it without her, and thank you to all my subscribers who have subscribed to me so far. Thank you all for watching, who've helped me grow and support my channel. And it's also my grandmother's birthday today. She's 84, so we're going to celebrate her birthday later. So anyway, what did you think of The Legend of Tarzan? Thank you all for watching. Please comment below, let me know. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Twitter and on my Google+, and I'll see you next time.